When we first brought in autofocus, I don't know that we really knew what we had. I want to say the first, if not the first, then one of the first to put autofocus in a camera body.
When you choose to go the wheeled case route, life-changing.
If Sony ever puts out anamorphic first-party lens, we will never have it available for loan because I will have it all the time.
All of the gear on the shelf behind us is actually my personal kit. It's all gone. I'm buying that. Hello and welcome back to the Full Frame Podcast presented by Sony in the studio with Sean Elwood. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Not too bad. A bit of a little eventful week in terms of firmware, which is kind of exciting, especially for me because I have both of these cameras.
Yes.
But kind of some interesting features that might trickle down, hopefully, and across new models perhaps. And then what else are we going to talk about today?
I think a little bit about just like autofocus in general, because it is kind of an autofocus update for the Alpha 1 and the Alpha 9. And then maybe segue into, it's that time of year. Talk a little bit.
Christmas bells.
That's right.
Tuesday, drop the Christmas bells.
Yeah.
We need a little loop deck, like a little soundboard.
Yeah. A little, or maybe a mistletoe. Anyway, autofocus and then on into gift ideas.
Yeah, gift ideas. It's the giving season. Maybe you've got your eye on something, or maybe
there's a special photographer in your life.
Yeah, someone special in your life that you'd love to, I don't know, gift an FX6. No.
We'll have some suggestions for the deep-pocketed viewers out there, but maybe some more practical stuff for the rest of us as well.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's dig into that firmware.
Yeah. So version 4 for the Alpha 1 Mark II, and then also
version for
4 for the 9 Mark III as well.
Yeah. Because I did the firmware update literally yesterday afternoon before this podcast.
So pretty red hot when we're recording, but it'll be a couple of weeks out. Once you hear this, I think the headline really, like, for most people with these cameras, the big thing is the autofocus update. So they get real-time autofocus, real-time recognition, autofocus plus.
Yeah.
That's what we're calling it.
That's the umbrella term.
That's
what does that mean in the real world?
So it seems like it means a few different things. The notes are not super detailed on it, but the thing that you definitely notice as soon as you run the update is that the eye autofocus box that shows you where it's tracking, that is now like a lot more fine-grained than it used to be. So where previously you'd go from either like a head tracking box down to an eye tracking box, now there seems to be like an extra level of detail where it can go down to like a small or distant eye. So either, someone's a bit smaller in frame, or mostly actually, it seems to crop up when people get like a little bit further away. It's now able to track like a long way out, right?
Yeah, we just did a quick test in just outside the studio here, and we were on a 1635 at the 35 end, and it was tracking my eye in the distance, and I was actually backlit as well with a white window behind me, which is also more tricky.
Yep.
And it was tracking my eye out to about 10 meters.
Yeah, and this was on a 35mm lens, so
my eye was
small,
tiny. It was
like it was getting to the point where if I was just looking at the rear screen, I don't know if I was like seeing much detail in your eye, but the camera was like putting that box there.
And at that distance, you almost can't tell the difference between a face tracking box and an eye tracking box,
just because
they're so far away. But for the kind of photographers that this firmware update's aimed at, like professional journalists, people that are sports photographers, things where you need that level of tracking, especially on longer lenses. Yeah, that's super exciting.
I think the other thing to be aware of is this is just for the human tracking.
Yeah.
So it's not going to affect animals, objects, birds, that sort of all the other stuff that kind of sits in the subject recognition. This doesn't seem to affect those.
Yeah.
This is human tracking. I think that's logical. That's the thing that most people are really concerned with.
Yeah.
But it would be cool to see it, roll out elsewhere down the road. I guess the other thing that's interesting is this seems like a firmware update where there probably isn't anything in these cameras' hardware that couldn't potentially be seen on other cameras down the road, right? The 7R Mark V has similar processing to what these have, so maybe that could come down the road. Something to hope for in the future, certainly.
Yeah.
And of course, maybe a hint for stuff that could come in the future if we're looking at the future of autofocus on these cameras.
Yeah, we just even in the testing alone, it just seemed a little bit more tenacious. I haven't tested it yet in kind of a sports scenario. I only did the updates yesterday.
Right, yeah.
But from what you've said, it will also kind of impact, there's a little feature in these two cameras and called like the autofocus level crossing.
Yeah.
And it's to do with subjects that cross in front of your target subject.
Yeah.
And so I'm already noticing that it's tracking things a lot more tenaciously. And with that setting applied or dialed in how you like it, you would be able to track, players on a field a lot better.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Or like, any case where you got a subject where things are passing in front of them, seems like that tenacity is kind of beefed up with this update. And just that feature, it's had some name changes over the years. So we have had that functionality in previous cameras, but it's often been called like just AF tracking or
subject shift sensitivity.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So anyway, might be different in your camera, but that is a really important feature.
But once you've got that dialed in how you like it, it does work quite well.
Really well. Yeah, absolutely. And I think great to be able to tweak that as you go, because different types of shooting, different sports have very different requirements, right? So if you're doing, like, for example, maybe if you're doing cycling, you got like a lot of different subjects that are coming past, you want to get each of them as they come. You don't want that tenacity, probably.
Because it's going to track the cyclist in the middle from one corner to the other. And then even if you want the cyclist in the middle, it won't
Exactly.
refocus.
Yeah. If you just want the thing that's in front of the camera, you want to drop that all the way down so that your camera's like memory of a goldfish, just grabs the thing in front of it always.
That works really well for ball sports because that way it just picks the person, whoever has the ball. You can just refocus, and it will jump around really effectively.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, exactly. So that's the main stuff. I guess the other, like, just to flesh out, covering the firmware update. There's an update to the behavior with focus, like AF point recall, like the I'm trying to remember that. There's a particular name for it. The
zoom preset. Is that what we're talking about?
Preset focus.
Preset focus.
Yeah. So this is where you can have create a preset for autofocus or for focus. And then you press the button and the lens will just drive focus to that point.
Yeah.
So this is sort of thing that's really great if maybe you're shooting motorsports, you're down behind a jump and you know that your cyclists or whatever, they're going to come up off this jump, but you can't track them on the way in. You just know, but you can set your focus to where they jump up to.
Yeah.
And then
when you hold that custom button.
And then you can just acquire every single time as they pop up off the jump, right? That sort of thing. You've got a predictable situation, but you can't predict exactly when it's going to happen. So you're just hitting that button to get the same result every time.
Yeah, that's really cool. Because if you're using, say, like the expandable tracking spot and you can't track the rider or the athlete on the way in, and then you just know that they're going to be in this point rather than relying on wide and relying on it kind of scanning.
Picking it up.
And then finding them. Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah. Yeah, very, very practical. I think, it's a narrow range of uses, but when you need it, it's great.
Yeah, good for repeatable activity, I think.
That's right.
Yeah.
Added in new film simulation or emulation presets as well.
Yeah, that was the FL. So the Sonys have always had the FL, like the FL
film look.
Yeah, in the normal creative looks.
Yeah.
But now they've added FL2 and FL3.
That's right.
That we first saw them in the RX1R Mark III.
That's right. Yeah.
And it's cool that they're dialed across.
Yes. Yeah.
They do look really nice.
They're so nice. I think, and we've talked about this before, but having the depth of customizability in those now as well, you can really, I mean, if you haven't tried it, like, you can get in the guts of those things. There's a lot of stuff around sharpening.
Yeah, there's sharpening, contrast, saturation, fade. There's a few.
You can push the colors in different directions.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, there's a lot of depth to it.
That would be my dream, is to just shoot JPEG.
Honestly, like, maybe we're getting closer. We're getting
really close.
Maybe you can shoot RAW and JPEG, and
but it'd just be great for obviously a lot of the people using those two specific cameras are probably, well, it's sometimes shooting JPEG anyway, and but they're probably shooting for media or publication, so they probably want a very clean standard style of image.
Yeah.
But as someone who uses these probably in a more creative way, it is exciting.
Yeah. I mean, I could see I mean, I think for weddings, you always want to be able to do a rescue if you have to.
Yeah.
But if you got like a really nice preset set up and you had RAW and JPEG and you could just at least for, maybe on the day, you could just transfer across.
Little sneak peeks.
Yeah.
I've done that before, definitely.
Yeah. Having the JPEGs in camera have that little extra kind of something to them. That's nice as a wedding photographer. Okay. That's the main stuff. There's a couple other things, like there's a metering accuracy improvement. How much does it improve it, and in what situations? It's not entirely clear.
I know, little asterisks. But don't know what it is.
It's been tweaked, and it's a free update, so why not?
Yep.
And then there's some updates for the camera authenticity solution thing. With all the AI image generation stuff. At the moment in Australia and New Zealand, not really a thing. But down the road,
one day,
we hope.
Yeah, I think it also added it for some video features.
Yeah, we do support that for video as well. So
yeah, because I saw that in the update when I ran it myself.
Mm-hmm,
yeah,
mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's most of the firmware update. Not like a long laundry list, but I think like super.
Whatever they've done to the autofocus though, like
it's real.
Usually these updates, especially for these specific cameras,
mm-hmm.
usually they're
little
like
bits and pieces.
They're usually like 850 meg in terms of how big that body data file
mm-hmm.
is.
Mm-hmm.
These ones are like 1.2 gigs. So whatever they've done, it's pretty substantial.
Yeah. I feel like sometimes the stability updates phrase at the end is like carrying a lot of weight.
There's so much stuff in there that they're just not saying.
It's in there.
Oh, they also added vertical menu.
Oh, that's always nice.
Yeah, so the Alpha 1 Mark II already had it, but now the 9.3 has it.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, so when you orientate the camera vertically now,
mm-hmm.
And if you're lucky enough to have a nice fancy
vertical grip,
yeah. Now the actual shutter speed, aperture, ISO
goes to
right on the bottom now instead of being up the vertical.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is really nice actually.
I think so. And also, obviously, I think this has always happened, but all the metadata from the camera writes them as, if you're shooting like this, it writes it as a vertical orientation image. So,
so when you pull it in, it doesn't try to flip it and stuff.
You don't have to
Same
do it
with
yourself.
video though. They've been doing that for a while.
Yeah. Do we want to talk about autofocus more in general now?
Yeah, definitely.
So, I mean, I feel like probably as an Alpha 1 Mark II shooter, Alpha 9 Mark III shooter, I mean, I assume that a big part of why you went up to those bodies was for autofocus.
Oh, 100%. A large part of it was the ability to shoot blackout free
mm-hmm.
because that alone actually makes autofocus better. And that's without even talking about the actual hardware of the lens or how the lens is driving focus.
Right.
Just because the camera itself isn't losing sight of the subject. So that already made a big difference. And then also the subject tracking. Like I can have a couple walking down an aisle and there'll be, flowers and petals falling and it's not going to miss and start tracking the flowers.
Yeah.
Because it's going, there's the eye. You told me I want to stay on the eye. I'll just stick with it, which is really good because even when I used to use, Alpha 7 III, if you're using just a single point, even without the IAF turned on, if you just use like a single point in the middle or the zone or the wide or whatever, as soon as something is passing in front, it just gets distracted.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a big reason why I got these two cameras.
Mm-hmm.
But there's this one mode, and it seems silly, but I'll have to demonstrate it. But coming from DSLR, there was that old traditional method like focus recompose.
Yes.
I show a lot of people this at my scene events and no one believes me, but I don't use the joystick ever.
Yeah, okay.
Like I haven't touched a joystick in like 4 years or something. Because like on the old DSLR, you would focus on your subject and then you would move the camera to find your composition.
Yeah.
Really lazy, but very quick.
Yes.
Like it worked amazingly. The problem there is though, once you've tilted the camera, your plane of focus would shift. And instead of using like wide or zone, what I do is I just use the tracking point. So it's right at the bottom of the menu in the AF area selection. I just press C2 on pretty much all the cameras out of the box. It's C2, last one on your menu. It's the tracking, and you can change the size between, extra small, medium, large. There's one called expandable tracking, whatever it is. Doesn't matter which one of those you choose. You can go back to using that old focus recompose method where you put the point on the person or on their eye, you put it on the car, you put it on your subject, whatever, and then you can just hold the half press and just move around to find your composition. That's the method I use, and because the tracking's so good, it's
I think
it's way faster than using the joystick to move
no
things
argument
around.
at all. And I think in that situation, it's a great tool.
Yeah.
The only thing is, like, I feel like the tracking focus is it can be a trap for people because that tracking focus, it's not your face and eye and all that stuff, right? Like you're talking about the one where it places a white box over them. Right?
Yeah, it's a white box with two little dots.
With little bars.
And then it goes green once it's tracking.
Right.
That mode, but eye autofocus and the subject recognition is still built into it. So if it detects a subject, it will revert to that tracking.
Yeah, but right. Okay. But the I think depending on what your subject is, it's
definitely
not necessarily using that smart tracking.
Yeah.
You just have to be a bit careful with it, because if you start using it and you are assuming that it's always got all of the kind of smart tracking built in, it's not necessarily always the case.
Yeah.
But in a situation like that where it's literally just like, I have this one subject, they're right there, I just need it to like move it for me.
Yeah.
No issues.
Yeah. That method is pretty much how I shoot exclusively now, and it works really well.
Yeah. Awesome. Do you shoot with a physical shutter these days much? Or
No.
you're almost all digital
Almost
shutter?
all electronic. Some venues are still using kind of lights that will introduce some degree of banding.
Like LEDs and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, in which case I'll go back to mechanical.
Yeah.
But I have a 9.3, so that question doesn't really matter.
Right. Yeah.
But on the Alpha 1, I'm kind of generally staying in electronic, unless I'm doing maybe some off-camera flash. But even then, the electronic still has 1/400, so I still probably prefer that one anyway.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that I think is really interesting is the move from film to digital, probably even more the move from DSLR into mirrorless, has coincided with a big shift in the lighting industry from hot lights into LEDs.
Yeah.
And, I think a lot of people's experience is they shot on SLR and they didn't have problems with banding. And then they shot on mirrorless and suddenly they run into these problems. And so a lot of people kind of come into this issue going like, there's something about mirrorless cameras that causes...
Yeah, but the sensor still reads the same way.
It's not a mirrorless issue. It's actually, it's just this other technological shift that happened exactly the same time, which is everyone started using LED lights.
Yeah.
And it trips a lot of people. Like I see it, all the time, either in like technical issues that come to me as part of my job, or even just reading around on forums, that sort of stuff. You see a lot of people who have this issue.
Yeah, complaining, but it's the two working together, not necessarily the mirrorless itself.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Honestly, I think it's a plague. Like, I really hate it because it just adds a lot of complication in for photographers, and ultimately, it's very hard to talk to lighting suppliers, like people who do the lighting, about sorting out so the thing that causes this whole issue is called pulse width modulation, which is a real not very intuitive word or phrase.
Yeah.
But it's it's about how LEDs control how bright they are by flickering on and off very quickly.
And modulating that frequency.
Yeah. So the modulation, they're controlling how bright they are. That's modulation using flicking on and off, which is pulse width. They pulse on, they pulse off, and that's the pulse width part. So so PWM lights, which the thing is, like, if you even the guys who run these lights, like, they half the time they don't even know. I mean,
I was going to say, in the film industry, there's a lot of attention to detail to the specification of certain lights. They've got a specific CRI. Is it CRI?
Yeah, CRI. Yeah. Yep.
They've got the specific CRI rating. People know about color accuracy. They're very particular. But the kind of lights that people just install in a venue,
just like your DJ lights.
Yeah, DJ lights or just overhead lights in a venue somewhere.
Right.
They really don't care.
These guys care about does it look right? Can I get the movements I want?
How cost effective is it?
Cost is a big thing. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. And of course, it's been great for DJs because they not DJs, AV, because these lights that are very power efficient, very light, very economical have kind of come onto the market. But unfortunately for photographers, it just makes it a minefield. Anytime there's mixed light, and it doesn't even have to be like a indoor venue with only indoor lights. I've had people come in where they'll be like, I get these bands, but only in parts of the image, and it's because they're shooting with natural light in the backdrop, and then the person's come indoors and there's LED lights on the inside, and so you see a line that just hits their face but doesn't hit the backdrop at all.
Yeah, that's so interesting.
It is. I mean, it is simultaneously super interesting and really frustrating.
Really frustrating. Just as a general rule of thumb, if you're shooting under most artificial lights and you're not using an alpha 1 or an alpha 9, probably steer away from electronic shutter.
I think that's right. And the reason is not because electronic shutters are always bad. It's just because they usually have a slow scan time, slower than your mechanical shutter.
Which makes it more likely that the lights will flicker off and on during that scan time. Yeah. That's pretty far off autofocus.
We're so far off track. I'm sorry, but
that's all right.
Yeah.
But I think that's one takeaway from this whole podcast. Yeah. If you're not using a body that's really designed for it, and you're aware of artificial light, maybe just think about electronic shutter as a maybe, not always I should leave it on.
I think your two guiding lights, that's one of them, definitely. Keep off electronic shutter if it's an option. And second, slow down your shutter speed as slow as you can still get the shot that you need.
Yeah.
So, at 1/50th, 1/60th, you're probably safe from flickering lights.
Yeah.
But you might have other problems.
Yeah, people shooting stage shows at 1/2000.
That's, don't do it.
Yeah, don't do it. But back onto the
autofocus.
The autofocus. A large part of those bodies, apart from being able to shoot electronic shutter, is the autofocus is a lot, I would say not necessarily more robust, but just it tracks a little bit more tenaciously.
Yeah.
And that's really handy because a lot of the time when you're working with talent, I'm not holding the camera up to my eye. I like working with talent where I can talk to them. So I'm often just shooting from, this kind of height, mid-chest level or lower. So it's handy to just kind of like trust it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I've only ever managed to really trick the autofocus a couple of times where it does genuinely miss. And more often than not, it's because there's another face in frame that is actually I think that either closer to the camera or it's more correctly lit.
Yeah.
And it will choose that.
Yeah.
And that's only when you're using, a wide area or something where you're saying, hey, look for eyes everywhere.
Yes.
But I've only managed to trick it a couple of times and it doeses't miss very often.
Yeah. Sometimes it's like it finds the other face and you're like, yeah, you're right, actually. That's better.
Yeah, that is a better.
That's big. I think, actually, sorry, this is, again, not really autofocus related, but I'm interested.
Yeah.
When you're working with people, you've got the 9 Mark II and the 9 Mark III, 1 Mark II.
Yeah.
Having a shutter sound is optional.
Yeah.
Are you running a shutter sound?
I'm lazy and I just leave it turned off.
Do you think people expect it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And sometimes when I'm working with talent at like a workshop or something, I'll turn that sound back on because sometimes it helps them know when to change position. But the cameras are so quiet now anyway. I don't think, if you're shooting a model on an 85mm, they're probably far enough away that they're not going to hear it anyway.
Yeah.
Whereas, if you're shooting 35 close or something, maybe, but I generally just leave it turned off.
Away from it.
Yeah. I don't know. The screen will flash. Like you can change the display now where it tells you what it's doing.
Yeah.
And I just like that it doesn't make sounds. I haven't been to any weddings as a guest recently.
Yeah.
But there was one a couple of years ago and I was already shooting on alpha 1s at that point. And I was sitting in the audience and it was just like massive DSLR.
Yeah.
And so there's this beautiful moment where, that both mums from each side of the family are getting up and they're doing like a knot tying ceremony. And all I could hear was just like, and I was just like, oh.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because everyone just learned to live with it for so long.
Yeah.
But I do think it's increasingly people are realizing that you don't have to have that.
Yeah.
And you'd probably rather not.
Yeah. And that's a big thing. Like you can even if you don't have an alpha 1 or a 9 Mark III, it is as someone who started there doing wedding photography, you could actually tell your couples, like you could include that information in, whatever package description you're doing. You're like, hey, like I have cameras. I've specifically chosen cameras that shoot silently. This is to make your day better. It's also to make sure that whoever you're hiring for video is also not ripping their hair out.
Yeah.
But it means that, you can work with a video team. You can do stills and motion on set. If it's a commercial shoot, it's actually a time saver because if you're using, mechanical shutter and you want to shoot stills, but they want to shoot motion, but there is dialogue or something like that, you're going to have to split your day in half.
Yeah.
And then suddenly the agency you're working for has to do a 2-day shoot, which could be a 1-day shoot.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's just a very simple, does your camera make sound? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Like that could be the make or break.
Yeah. Oh, hey, I have another thing that I need to add. Going all the way back to our firmware discussion. Sorry. I just realized we didn't really cover this off, so we won't bother editing it back in there. We'll just leave it here.
We'll just leave it here.
That firmware update also works for video. Is just the important thing.
Yeah,
we didn't really mention it, but it's just as good in video. Same sort of size in the frame.
Yeah,
same.
Yeah. The autofocus tracking for video was like really good.
Really good.
Yeah, it was about the same distance as
I didn't
stills.
see any difference.
No.
Okay, let's drag it back to autofocus. We need autofocus for our subject of discussion.
Yeah.
To bring autofocus. That pun was better in my mind. Okay, so I've forgotten what I was going to ask. Do you have a subject to talk about around autofocus?
Around autofocus, a lot of people think it's the camera.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it is the lens.
Huge. Massive. And I think the thing that really drove this home for me was using the super telephotos, so the 400 and the 600. There are others now that have that degree of snappiness, but the first time we got those like dual XD linears, and I think especially it helps with the super telephotos because they blur so much when they are blurring.
Yeah, and the distance that it has to rack focus is probably
Quite
larger.
long.
Whereas, if you're using a 2470 GM2, still with XD linear, you're only focusing probably, 3 to 6 meters.
Right.
That 3 meter distance isn't a big gap.
Yes.
Whereas if you're focusing on something from infinity all the way down to, 2 or 3 meters from you on a 400, you're going to notice that a lot more.
Oh, huge, massive.
Yeah.
And I think, and I've come back now to the idea that I wanted to talk about, which is actually very right next to this one, which is I think the autofocus now on the most recent models has gotten to the point where, previously you would press the autofocus button, especially you get a new model and you'd hit the autofocus button and you would like mentally kind of feel how long it takes to focus. Like how quick is this?
Yeah.
And I feel like on the 1 Mark II and the 9 Mark III now, it's faster than you can really perceive. It's getting there.
Yeah. I think we talked about it in the previous episode, but I was saying you would focus on an old DSLR or even really early mirrorless and there was a perceivable like press it and you'd wait for the subject.
Especially in the day of like screw drive motors and stuff, like forget about it.
Well, it's just rotating
Take
that
your
piece
time.
of glass.
Yeah.
I think it's to a point now where it's almost too good. Well, only in the sense that I found that I always just leave subject recognition turned on because I'm always shooting a subject, generally people.
Yeah.
Whereas some people split the IAF from the normal AF so that, you press a custom button and then it applies the IAF.
When
I found that like I'd be trying to focus on a bouquet at a wedding and it would just keep jumping to the eye and I just had to quickly turn it off because it was too good.
Yeah, definitely. Well, story time, old man story time. When we first brought in autofocus, I don't know that we really knew what we had because we were, I want to say the first, if not the first, then one of the first to like put autofocus in a camera body.
Yeah.
And when it first came in, you would have to assign a button. Like it literally just didn't exist as a button on the camera.
It was, hey, this might be cool for a couple of people.
Yeah.
Assign it to a custom button.
That's right.
But use the AF how you would usually use it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was all about like move the dot around, like, and then, and it became, when I was setting gear up for people, it became like the first thing I do would be like, all right, like let's assign the button on the side of your lens to be autofocus.
Yeah.
And it obviously exploded into like
what it is today.
It has to, it's a must have now. You know, if your new camera doesn't have great subject detection autofocus, then like just pick up your toys and go home.
That reminds me of another thing that it is AF related.
Yeah.
But the product showcase feature that's on some of the ZV range, that exists purely because the eye autofocus that was implemented in that line was too good. Because I'd want to show you the mug.
Yeah.
And if the mug doesn't completely obscure my face, it would just keep tracking the eye.
Yeah.
And that's why vloggers, the whole like, here's my product.
Right.
That exists, that hand behind the beauty, makeup, lipstick, whatever it is. That hand behind thing is purely because the eye autofocus was too good. So then they implemented product showcase and that's to say, hey, turn that off.
That's right.
I find that so funny.
Yeah, no, I've been setting up cameras before and I've been like, why would this GD autofocus work? And it's because product showcase is on.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right.
Scene is a platform designed to bring creators, photographers, and filmmakers together through events, workshops, and talks across Australia and New Zealand. Whether you're a beginner or have been working professionally for years, there's events to suit everyone. And now, with Scene Rewards program, you can be rewarded for pursuing your creative journey through exclusive benefits such as discounts on tickets, exclusive Sony merch, and invitations to talks, workshops, and much more. Join the Scene community at sony.com.au/scene or sony.co.nz/scene to learn more.
Should we move on from autofocus and talk a little bit about
gift ideas?
Yeah, Christmas bells, they be ringing.
Yeah, really close, right around the corner.
Honestly,
is there anything that's on your list?
For me?
Yeah.
I think for me, okay, tell you, where you can never go wrong is more storage.
Yeah.
Like
SSDs or maybe something a bit more exciting?
Well, yeah, I mean, like definitely the new the new SD cards, the new like generation of SD cards. If you haven't looked at SD card prices recently and you're like, God, like I got that one and I paid like a kidney for it and I want more but I can't afford more. Like take a look because the new, whatever happened, I don't know if they hit a new process node or something, but the price for an SD card has gone way down.
Yeah, the new CF Express Type A cards that have just come out a couple of months ago.
Yes.
For double the storage, it's the equivalent of the old price. So you could get 160 for the price of an 80 even 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Massive difference.
On storage though, this is my pet peeve. I'm going to annoy a lot of people with this. I know some photographers that keep an SD card for every single shoot and that's their storage like option. And I'm like, if you're using a really like a relatively high end camera, whether that takes CF Express or Sony Tough, how are you paying for that?
Yeah.
And they keep those cards and they don't reuse them. And then when they run into problems like corrupt files, it's because they're using these really cheap 32 gig cards for every shoot.
Right.
Whereas like cards are meant to be formatted, they're meant to be reused.
I feel my mental picture of these people is they're like using $100 notes to light a cigar, sort of.
No, but it is really big, and I think I see it a lot in maybe some people that are a bit in the wedding sphere, but maybe a bit more junior.
Oh yeah, okay.
And so they're obviously backing things up, but they're keeping the card until they deliver it to the client.
Yeah, interesting.
And I'm like, but you're spending thousands of dollars on storage when a really good NAS setup or a really good RAID or even just mid-tier SSDs will be a far better option for you.
Yeah, and
because those cheaper cards, you're buying lots of smaller, cheaper cards. The likelihood of failure is so much higher than buying a tough or just buying a better SD card.
Well, and also like their buffer has got to be
way
hurting
lower
on the back of that, right? Yeah. God.
No, it's really common. It's actually a lot more common than you think.
Wow.
Yeah, I see it a lot.
Brutal.
Which is crazy.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Especially now. Go and get yourself a nice CF Express Type A.
So storage is on your list?
I think so.
Yeah.
What about you?
I think if you're buying for yourself, I think Christmas is maybe a time to treat yourself a little bit. But if you don't feel like treating yourself, buy that thing that you really need but have been putting off.
Okay.
So sometimes that's for some people that's storage. So if you're buying for someone else, a nice strap or those kind of like more fun accessories, like filters and stuff, they're great gifts because I'm not going to go out and buy some fancy creative filter, but someone buys it for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I think all those fun little things like, little like reflective objects or whatever that you can like stick in the side of the shot to get like a little bit of flare.
Yeah, something fun.
Lenses are so good these days that they like don't flare that much typically. And having something to, when you want to get that effect, just like I've seen people with a CD case.
Yeah, that works.
For those, I mean, maybe this is this could be aging the podcast, but yeah, let's like the side of a CD case, or God forbid, a cassette case in the side of the shot will just give you a bit of flair there.
I mean, there's a company from the US that just does effect filters.
Yeah.
But yeah, those kind of gifts are great for other people, or even for yourself if you just want something that's going to change up how you shoot. Maybe just do something a bit more fun. I love those kind of gifts because those filters are generally within a pretty reasonable price point.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And I think like stuff like the black mist, that sort of stuff, just to try a different effect. They can just be fun.
You can get fake anamorphic. It's just a little piece of glass with blue lines down it, so it splits the light as it comes in. Yeah, you can get fake anamorphic filters.
I love that.
That kind of stuff's probably like a really good little Christmas gift.
Yeah, maybe I should look into that. I'm always looking at like the the cheap end of the anamorphics and going like, maybe one day.
I see a lot of people shooting stills with anamorphic now just for fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty cool. Especially when you've got things like the depth map.
Yeah.
That was put in with the 7 Mark IV.
That's what I want to do.
You could do that. You could do your focus peaking, probably makes your life a lot easier.
If Sony ever puts out anamorphic first-party lens, we will never have it available for loan because I will have it all the time.
All of the gear on the shelf behind us is actually my personal kit. It's all gone. I'm buying that.
It's just
buying that, whatever it is.
I'll tell the engineers.
What other gifts?
I think
a spare battery.
I was going to say, yeah, a spare battery, always good.
Always good.
Or like a big fat power bank.
Oh, yeah.
Like a nice, like an Anker or something, or a Sony power bank. They've got like so much power in them. They're like 20,000 watts you can get easily. And it's the size of like a fat phone. But it's just nice to have, you stick it in your backpack or whatever. And then if you're ever out of power, just plug it in. And
you can charge your camera off some if it's got enough output, you can charge a camera off it.
Yeah, our big power bank, the 20,000 one, does powered USB-C power delivery, PD standards. So that's heaps.
This is probably inadvisable, but as someone who like works on set a lot, I have like just a stack of V-mount batteries.
Yeah,
like the big chunky V-mount, 99 watt hour up to whatever size. It's weird because the power bank industry is pretty big. Any convenience store will sell them basically. Yes. And I'm walking around with like a V-mount charging my phone. It's like this 99 watt hour. My phone doesn't charge past 80% now because whatever the output of that V-mount, it's not meant for a phone.
It's not quite the end there.
My phone goes from flat to full in about 16 seconds.
I think the V-mount is such a flex. It's like it's the power bank that says like, I work in film.
Yeah, it is a bit of a flex. Yeah.
No, I think that's a good one.
Power, storage, they're all kind of important stuff.
I was at we did a macro workshop this past weekend with Mark Gaylor.
Yeah,
and
I saw that.
He was saying a really good thing that you can pick up on the cheap is just like a little LED like light.
Oh, yeah,
thing.
The most common one I think is, I don't know the exact name for the nan light one, but I know they're called aperture MCs if you go the aperture way. Those lights are really reasonably priced.
Yeah.
The CRI rating's pretty good.
Yeah.
They come with a little built-in diffuser. They're great.
They're incredible for macro because like even with a small light, it's a big light when you're shooting a tiny subject.
Oh, yeah, that's the equivalent of like a 12 by.
Right. You go to like an 8-foot octa. Yeah, I think like even without being someone who shoots that kind of stuff, they can just be nice for like adding a little bit of light into a shot.
Most of them are magnetic too. So you can
stick them to stuff.
Hang them, stick them to stuff.
Yep.
Fireplace is always great when you're trying to add a bit of light to a scene.
Yeah, I think like a great like pro tip for if you're doing a live stream or something like that is just putting in a little like kicker, like a little hair light. So hair light's like one that sits behind you and sort of high, and it just like lights around the side of your head so that if it's a bit dark behind you, you still get like a nice shape of the head. It reads really easily. It adds a lot of production value on the cheap. Yeah,
those little lights are really affordable.
Yeah.
Trying to think of other little gifts and knickknacks.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the other thing that can be nice, I got something that I use all the time that I got a while back now was one of those like color calibration kits.
Oh yeah,
I think it's like for someone who's on the nerdy end. Like if they're not if they don't have like a little bit of the tism about them, then maybe it's not going to be the gift for them. But definitely like
I'm interested.
Tell me more. So like I got one that was like the kind of the premium thing. It's actually so super cool because it comes in this like silver like attaché case thing with the latches on the front. So someone goes like, I can't get this color out. I'm like,
yeah, okay.
Let's go. But inside you've got a color calibration booklet. So it's like a plastic clamshell which has the swatches on the inside. So you can do like proper calibration.
And then white card, grey card stuff.
Yeah. And also it's got a autofocus target. So you can, if you want to check how your lens is focusing, make sure it's focusing correctly, whatever, you can do that. And then it also had like a actual spider calibrator, like a
that's
color
really
calibrator
good.
for your monitor.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, especially I think if you are, God, I think if you don't have a really nicely calibrated monitor, then like get one because
definitely.
Sorry, not get a. I mean, do get a monitor, but also get a calibrator because you don't know what people are saying. You know, like you put your stuff on the internet, you send it to your friends, whatever. You assume that what you see on the screen is what they see.
Yeah.
But if you're not calibrated, like you could be so far, you know, your blues could be green. Who knows? Like it's impossible to tell until you do it.
Yeah, good monitor, but then also working in the right color space. Like if you, depending on whether you're Mac or Windows, but just making sure you're actually working in the right color space. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Just a handy hint. I can't be bothered going and grabbing it, but if a lot of people, I tell this at workshops, and people go, "What?" the Sony caps that come on the bodies, the gray is pretty close. It's meant to be exactly middle gray, but it you know, obviously there's some degree in variation and stuff, but they're actually very, very close to middle gray. They're designed to be that way. So if you take the Sony cap off the camera, use it to do your white balance, but you can also use it for exposure too. Yeah, so you put it in your scene and then set your target little area.
18% gray.
18% middle gray.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really cool. Little handy hint for people that don't know.
Love that.
Yeah.
I think another thing that can be good is like a little cleaning kit, especially because they often have like consumables in them that like you'll run out of eventually, or you'll
like
lose.
A cleaning cloth. They usually have some kind of isopropyl alcohol, so you can clean the exterior of the camera.
Yeah.
Lens stuff. Yeah, they're always really handy. Like a lens pen. Those ones are good because they have an actual concave surface. So if you're actually wiping a front element, God forbid, no, but you know, you're cleaning it in the appropriate way. The other one I was going to say is not necessarily camera storage, because like dry cabinets and stuff are pretty great thing to have, but they are on the expensive side.
Yeah.
Any kind of like hard case is great, because even if you're not planning on traveling, you still feel better throwing a case in the car than maybe, you know, putting a backpack down, things like that.
Yeah.
You know, you can get camera specific ones from brands like, you know, Manfrotto or Pelican, and they're really, really, really tough. But there's other options out there. I think Bunnings sells a ton of them as well, actually.
Yeah, for sure.
And yeah, just getting a wheeling case specifically when you not necessarily that you graduate from a backpack, but when you choose to go the wheeled case route, life changing. Life changing.
100%. Yeah. I think as you advance in years, that also becomes more important. So that's like a lot of stuff. But like I think also, I mean, around our house, my house is full of things, and and I sometimes have feelings when people give me a gift that is a lovely thing, but also now I have another thing to find a home for in my house, which has already too many things in it.
Yeah.
So sometimes like an experience or something like that can be really good.
Yeah.
I mean, I think without wanting to toot my own horn too much, Sony Scene has some great events that you can go and check out. And I think, you know, getting someone, tickets to an event that you think will be interesting for them is a great option.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that, but that's a really good way to kind of gift an experience, especially because with a lot of the workshops, a lot of the intention is to teach, but there's a lot of amazing, talented, you know, extremely well rounded photographers already out there that are just looking for the experience, that aren't necessarily there to learn. They are just there to, I want to shoot something new that's going to inspire me.
Hang out with other creators. Like it's on top of, you'll probably learn something from the actual content of the workshop. Yeah, you get to hang out with other people who are interested in doing stuff.
Definitely.
So by all means. You can also, you know, you can reach out to specific photographers for, you know, one-on-ones, that sort of stuff. I think, you know, find someone whose work speaks to you and do that. Or I guess, you know, find someone who, you know, the photographer in your life is interested in their work. And, you know, I think a lot of photographers are very open to it.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess the other thing is like, there are some publications out there that you could sign up for if you were really keen.
Yeah.
I mean, I think obviously national Nat Geo, Australian Geo, all that stuff is like awesome.
Yeah.
But also there are some more, I guess like more kind of arty or left field stuff that you could try signing up for. In the end, I think a lot of people get into photography and like they spend a lot of time learning the gear, and then they get like pretty good with the gear, and they often start to stagnate at that point because they go like, I'm not seeing big improvements in my shots. I go out and I shoot and I don't necessarily get like shots that are way better than what I got last time I shot. And people will sort of start to fall off. And I think often for people in that situation, it's what helps is like looking at photography.
Yeah. I have a collection of photo books. Every time I go into a bookstore, I'm always running full sprint to the photography section.
Yeah.
And I'm always trying to find like a photo book, something that's like really relevant or interesting. I just purchased a really recent one. I spoke to Rachel and she unfortunately didn't submit any photos to it, but it's a book called Eden. I think it's curated by Nick Stevenson, and it's a book about mountain biking in New Zealand.
Oh, awesome.
And that's my special interest at the moment.
Nice.
But like having a book that's really exciting, or maybe even buying a photo book of something that you want to shoot, not necessarily something that you currently shoot, because the inspiration that you'll get from that, and also you get to know the photographer or photographers in that book, and then me frantically following a bunch of other mountain bike photographers. But it's good because now I'm aware of these people and their work, and it grows from there.
I think the other thing, obviously, like it's easy to go like, oh, well, Instagram exists, and so like buying photo books is a weird thing to do, but you don't get the same depth of catalog, I think, when you're like scrolling Instagram, and you also don't get to see anywhere near the kind of like detail and resolution.
Nah, definitely.
There is just a lot in an actual printed thing that you're not going to get in other.
Speaking of printed things, if you've gone on a holiday, you've gone somewhere, a great shoot, print some of your work. Get a print done, pop into a local retailer that does prints.
Print a photo book.
Or you can print it, online and get it delivered. But print a photo book or just even normal prints. But put some of your work up, because you'll, as photographers, we're generally quite critical of our own work. But once you see it printed up on a wall, it doesn't feel like yours anymore. And you go, wow, that looks great.
I think also, that sort of stuff just pays you back over time. And it's one of the best investments you can put into like the hobby of photography, or like the I don't know, like hobby sounds like little, but like, your craft of when you see that stuff coming back to you all the time, like having those books to look back on, having art on your wall, like every time you walk past it, it like just gives you a little bit. And it can be a great way to kind of like build and build and build.
Yeah. I'm trying to do at least one photo book from each trip that I've been on. So they've all been Sony trips, thankfully. But, I've been to Antarctica, I've been to Japan, and now New Zealand. So those three in of itself have been like Sony trips. Yeah. But the idea is I'd love to have a collection of photo books that kind of just, basically like a scrapbook, but of all the cool stuff I hope to have done when I'm old.
Yeah. And then you can inflict it on your kids when you're older.
Yeah. Look what I did. One day.
But I mean, bags are a very like, getting back to stuff.
Oh.
Bags are a very personal thing. Do you think like a bag is a good gift, or maybe like you could be in trouble with a bag?
I think it is very individual. Some people like the top flap arrangement. Some people want side access. Depends how you shoot. Like if you're a very minimal photographer with, one body, maybe two lenses, side access is great.
Yeah.
But I carry all of my gear with me at all times anyway. Yeah. So I'm already throwing the bag on the ground, unzipping the whole thing and going, ooh, what do I want to use today?
What today?
Yeah, what today? So side access to me is like irrelevant.
Meaningless.
Bags are very individual. I remember a couple of condos ago, we were given a bag. It was a really nice Lower Pro one. And the funniest part about that whole situation was that everyone had just traveled to Cairns for this event. And then we all had to somehow get another bag back. And everyone was trying to figure out how we can pack things so we don't get stung by extra baggage.
Of course.
So, bags inside bags and like all this other stuff. Very funny.
So sorry.
Yeah. No, it was great.
What about like straps and stuff? I think they can be kind of fun.
Yeah. There's a few brands on the market now that do some kind of like more bespoke stuff. So You can get like custom engravings, you can get names printed, that kind of stuff. And there's also just a lot more people taking a lot more risks in terms of design. The traditional leather strap is out. I would say out. Not many brands are doing the normal leather strap anymore. You can get fabric ones, rope ones now.
Yeah.
I would say if you're going to get a strap, get any kind of toggle system where it can clip on, clip off.
Yeah, the Peak Design ones are everywhere.
PGY Tech. There's a few brands on the market now, but I remember when I used to work for Sony and the night before an event, I'd pick up the big roller of gear and I'd have to sit there individually putting on every strap onto a camera. So I've got a bag of 20 cameras and I have to put 20 straps onto them. And then now we've all switched to Peak Design and it's it's so much better. Yeah.
Oh, good. All right.
Yeah.
Any other like hot gift ideas? If you haven't thought about gifts yet, it's when this comes out, I don't know who needs to hear this, but like you need to get on it. It is time.
Yeah, this will be like late November.
Late November.
Late November.
Yeah, it's time.
It's crunch time.
Go.
That'll be
run.
Black Friday.
Don't walk, run.
Black Friday by then, basically.
That's right.
Yeah, get on it.
You need to get you need to be making a list and checking it twice.
Yeah, definitely. In terms of non-physical stuff, probably one more. If you don't have a website, look into a platform that suits you and works for your what you want the website for. But it's once you've got a dedicated portfolio that's not tied to social media, suddenly you're like, oh wow, I feel so professional.
Yeah, no,
it is worth it. It's definitely worth it.
Yeah, set up like a link tree and have all that stuff as well. That's a wrap.
All right, see you next week. Bye.
Sony is giving away a G Master lens every single month. Yes, you heard that right. Simply register your Sony camera or lens for your chance to win a choice of a G Master lens. When you register your product with Sony, you can keep track of all your product details in one place, get easier access to support, and stay informed about product updates. Don't miss your chance to win. Visit sony.com.au/mysonygear for full details and terms and conditions.